Hey everyone, welcome to From Wolf to Wow. I'm Josh.
I'm Sam.
And of course, once again, Sam is joining me. I think you're going to see Sam a lot more because, she's awesome. So today we have an incredible, story, right? In a way that we want to get into. The title of this podcast is Back Then We Had No Idea. So we want to talk a little bit more about, the history, the origin of how everything kind of got started. As some of you might already know, we are creating a Petpreneur University. So this is where we are basically coaching your business from the actual training of whatever the service is, like grooming, dog training.
Care in general, cooperative care.
Exactly. Dog walking. Is there cat walking?
There's not cat walking, but there are cats that go out on leashes. So
there you go. So I figured we would get into a little bit of a little bit of a Q&A, so to speak. And so what first sparked your interest in starting a business?
That's a loaded question. I don't even know really that I was so focused on starting a business. My journey started from my own need. So I was, 35, needed to go across the country for a wedding and had my mom take care of my animals, which were just cats at the time. And I think she had a good time, but at the end of it, she's like, I'm not going to do this again. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. Like, my mom raised 5 kids, but she never signed up to take care of 5 cats and scoop up cat poop.
You had 5 cats?
We had 5 cats at the time.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, we actually worked our way up to 8 at one point, which is kind of illegal in all of the cities.
Isn't that like the definition of like the crazy cat lady?
Yeah, ding ding. Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for putting that out there. No, you're not. It's totally funny. So that happened in September, and then in September I said, okay, well, I'm gonna take a look online and see if there's anyone out there that offers this. And there was one person. So this is back in 2013. There was one person. She was in Laval. Anyways, so I was like, oh, this could be something. And now if you look it up, there's pet sitting everywhere. Like it's an actual thing. But my journey started from a need. So I said other people might have the same need. So I bought my first business card on Vistaprint and went and hung them up in all the pet stores that I knew of. And that was September. It took 3 months to get the first phone call.
I mean, that's a good little nugget there for people to understand when they're promoting themselves and they're putting out their business cards and stuff. Everyone now expects client galore, like instantly.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen like that. So, I went about my daily life back then and had my other job. So it wasn't like I was hurting for income or anything at that time. It was a good complement to the other job.
So it was a side hustle.
It was a side hustle.
I think that's, that there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
I think a lot of scenarios start out like with a side hustle.
Absolutely.
I know mine did too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we will talk about your poop bags turning into still poop bags, but grander poop bags.
Yes.
But it is a side hustle. So anyways, within the first 3 months, I got my first 3 clients. One of those is still with us. The others have moved.
Way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 13 years later.
That's incredible.
But that's how it started, and it was slow. In my first year, I had 10 clients.
That's still amazing.
But it wasn't the world that it is today. It was not 2013, okay, fine. There was social media. Facebook was a thing. Instagram was a thing, but not really. It has gotten more popular since. So you kind of relied on those little tacky posts everywhere, And so
I used to go door to door.
Ooh, how did that work for you?
It actually went really well.
Yeah? Did you go to only the houses where the dogs were barking at the windows?
Yes and no.
It's a thing.
But wow, yeah. And when you were starting that side hustle, and you said it took 3 months to get your first couple of clients. How much did you charge back in the day compared to like the one competitor, I guess, that you had?
Okay. So.
Like, what was your strategy in that sense?
Okay, so literally, and this my strategy at the beginning was to undercut the competitor.
Okay.
And that was great in a way that, sure, I was cheaper and I made sure to give a lot of value, but it made raising my price to a sustainable price point very difficult over the years. So I think I was $18 for one cat visit.
And that's you going to their home.
Going to the home, and then my travel coming back, and then my update. And it was not a lot of money, but side hustles start with passion, right? They start with passion, and let's see where this goes. And I told myself, if I can get 30 clients, I'll keep doing this. 30 clients. That happened in year 2, halfway through year 2.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing, but also 30 clients. You know, you never feel, I don't know about you, but I've never felt that like it's
enough.
That's
because it's passion.
Oh.
That's because you have passion. Someone who doesn't have passion is going to be happy with, I just need this X amount to survive, and I don't care about whatever else I get.
I see where you're going with that.
So, the reason why you feel like that is the passion. That's what keeps entrepreneurs going every year. They never get comfortable, or at least you shouldn't be. Because if you're getting, but not in that sense, but I mean, like, if you're getting comfortable, then your slowing
growth
down.
Is slowing. Yeah.
Exactly. Everything is slowing down, and you're kind of like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. Don't.
And it's happened to me. I've had a few weak points where I was like, oh, but there's so much going on for us, as you know, like entrepreneur-wise. I mean, personal life comes into play.
The weather comes into play too.
Oh my gosh.
Like the weather can make or break what you have on the schedule that day. And we can't control those things, right? And
it's tough. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Like we have a heat wave right now.
Yeah.
And so clients are canceling and rescheduling, which totally I understand.
It makes sense.
I would probably reschedule it anyways, but that's just it, right?
Yeah.
So
uncontrollable circumstances.
Yeah.
So, okay, I've given you a little bit of how I started based on a need. How did you start? Did you even know you were starting when you were starting?
I definitely knew I was starting, I guess, when I was starting.
Okay.
Or I think. So I always wanted to become a veterinarian. So that was my dream, that was my goal. And I was doing my Bachelor of Sciences at Concordia. And I found a little place called l'Académie Canet in Laval. And I got into that place because my huskies that I had, the person that sold me those dogs was the trainer at this place.
Okay.
And so she asked if I wanted to, learn the trade and this and that. And I was like, this
is a nice offer.
Yeah, it's a nice offer. I'm interested. It was a lot of work. And I volunteered for quite a while.
Picking up poop.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff. And so it was all the way in Laval. I didn't drive at the time. So basically I was like, bus, metro, this, that, going there, volunteering my time every day for months. And but I loved it.
Yeah, you were addicted.
And so that's what I mean, the passion.
Yes, the passion. There's sometimes people might think we're crazy, right? So going back to that passion where
you have to be crazy.
A little bit you have to be crazy. My accounting job started at 8. I used to offer 5:15 and 6:15 cat sitting visits in the morning, 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. so I could get to work on time.
Wow.
People were floored. They're like, you get up this early? I'm like, I have to. So I will. But the passion kind of makes you a little bit of a mental case.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a quote I heard once too, and it always stuck with me. Might have been Steve Jobs. I think he said something along the lines of you have to be a little bit crazy to be an entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, you would be insane not to quit.
Yeah.
You would be insane not to
great.
quit. So,
Oh my God.
so as a
Explaining so much.
yeah. So as an entrepreneur, it's like we have to have a little bit of that insanity to keep going, because everything says to stop.
Yeah.
Everything says to just quit now.
You're so right.
So I think that is something that always stuck with me. And so that's kind of how it started. That was the idea. And I have this incredible person who was the owner at the time of that facility. And I remember when we were finishing up, like we were done, and she said to me, "You were meant to do this." She said, "You were meant to do this. You should, I know you have your goals and all of that, but you should." And, I remember kind of being like, shrugging it off, kind of like, "Oh, thanks." Like.
Because you were what, 19, 20 at the time?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I was, yeah. That's when it all kind of started, around then.
So at 19, 20, you're like, yeah, thanks. I've got plans, but thanks, know, and
that's it.
But
And
then
it just kind of, I went home and I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, and then it just kind of all manifested. And so I dropped everything. Like I literally jumped off. I kept my job, but I mean, schooling and all of that, I just...
Okay, so wait, were you working elsewhere at the same time as doing all of that?
Yeah.
So you were in school, you were working, and you were volunteering, and then all of a sudden, this volunteer position turns into what is going to be your life. Mm-hmm. So you keep the other job and do Passion Sideline.
I actually had 2 jobs.
Okay, because one is not enough.
I had 2 warehouse jobs.
Yeah.
So I did 2 warehouse jobs. At one point, I also delivered the Gazette in the morning.
Okay.
And then on the side, an hour here, an hour there, I would go see a client.
Can I say something to make you feel old? I don't even know if they deliver the Gazette anymore.
They do.
Okay. Just the Saturdays, I think?
No,
No?
they still do every day.
Oh, okay. I don't even think they print every day.
Okay. Point is that I'm old. I get it.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm older than Josh, right? You see the grays? Less gray.
I have some grays.
More gray, less gray. It's fine.
Yeah.
So there was a pivotal moment for you when you defined, I want to do this. What happened to the warehousing jobs?
Oh, that took a little while. What ended up happening was, that's right, my gosh, it's refreshing my memory. I had a warehouse job and I had a construction job.
Okay.
I was doing demo. And there was this client, I'll never forget him, his name was Sidney Horn. Top lawyer, some big shot. I remember every day he would come downstairs and he would say everyone's name.
Oh, he knew
Like
that.
he knew everyone's name. He'd be like, "Josh, how's it going?" And so he would just get into these conversations with me about, I would tell him like, "Oh, well, I want to be a dog trainer." And he's like, "Oh, really?" And he would come in, he's like, "How's the dog training business going?" He says, "Hey, do you have any cards?" And I said, "Yeah, I have cards in my car." He's like, "Go get me a couple." So I gave him some. And my first big client was Kevin Kite and Alessandra. And they were the best ever.
Oh, yeah.
They had the most wonderful German Shepherd, had a lot of problems.
That's why they called you.
But they were the best, and without them maybe even realizing it, I'd say that they are the ones that probably pushed me the most to be like, okay, I can do this.
This is it.
I can do this full time. And they were so generous and nice because in many ways, they pretty much hired me for a year.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And so it made me be able to be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get rid of one of those jobs.
Okay.
And
turn this into a real thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you're listening, thank you. I'm pretty sure I've said it to you before, but yeah, so I can never say it enough. So that's kind of how it got to the point where I was like, okay, like so it was a bit of luck, and it was a bit of, I guess, a boost that I needed to kind of say like, okay, I'm going to jump ship here. And when you're younger, you can take a little bit more risk.
Yes.
I mean, even at that time, I still had my own place. I was always on my own pretty much.
Okay.
That takes a lot of courage.
Because where's the next rent payment going to come from? Are you going to be able to eat without the 2 jobs,
Exactly, yeah. And I just remember how supportive they were. I don't even know if they realized how supportive they were, but they were. It was always like, it was almost like going there and yes, training, but also like a little bit of like a Josh show. What can you do to, or what, it was always like something like that where I was like, oh man, I was like, these guys, they make me think more and more about what I can do with this business.
So do you think maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there, do you think maybe their trust in you allowed you to trust yourself?
I think so. I think that's the beauty of just, connection.
Yeah.
You don't know when it's going to happen, and it just happens. And it's great.
Yeah.
It's great when it does.
Absolutely.
What about you? What was that point where, like me, where I kind of said, like, okay, I'm going to kind of quit here. I'm going to go into this full time.
So that point came way later for me. Because as some of you may or may not know, I'm like Miss Anxiety. So I've got to be like firmly planted in something. It was just me, cat sitting wise, for about 1.5 years. And then I hired one of my customers because she took great care of her cats. And I was like, I need you on my team because I cannot handle the workload at that point. So in year 2, the workload was starting to get tough to balance with my other 40-hour-a-week job. So then I started hiring people, and that allowed me to expand without leaving my other job right away. So it took me until 2017. It took me, longer than that. I think I left my other job after having wicked for 6 years.
Okay.
So 6 years and probably about a dozen people on the team. And then I decided to leave the office job. And I had like slowly phased down my hours there to try and balance out the money. And then even when I was down to like 2.5 days a week, I was like, can I do this? Can I do this? And I just had to do it, right? You jump, you learn, you sink or you swim. Hopefully you swim. That's the whole thing about entrepreneurship. Sometimes you do sink, but then you have to double up on your laps to get back out. It's like this. Anyone who sees your project or your trajectory like this just doesn't see all the pitfalls that you're going through. Yeah. So it took me a while to get steady enough and confident enough to do it. But then once I did, COVID hit shortly thereafter, and then I had to do some side hustles in the side hustle. But yeah, that was it. Took me a while.
Yeah. I mean, even me, when I was going on my own, like, even if we just look at sacrifices in the sense of back when I was doing this, first off, I think I did free consults. So the first session was always free. I would go to their home for free. And that was for at least, my gosh, I don't know, 7-8 years was like that.
Time.
It's a long time. And I think I was around $60 a session for 7-8 years.
Very affordable.
And remember Swarm Jam?
No.
No?
Am I that old? What's Swarm Jam?
Swarm Jam was like the first Groupon.
Oh, okay. I don't remember it.
So it was part of the Gazette.
Thing there that still gets published?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would charge $25 for, people could buy a coupon for $25. That was me coming to their house, doing that full session for them, and then hopefully upselling. But $25, and then Swarm Jam took, my first year, took 80% of the $25. So I was going to someone's home to do a training session for like $5.
Hey, these are the things we do. Sometimes that's the trick you find. You're like, okay, this works for me, and you're willing to do the things for free because you're building up something that you believe in, right?
Yeah.
That's why, like, entrepreneurship, you got to be a little bit of crazy, right? Because
yeah. And what ended up happening though was I think my first Swarm Jam ever, I think I got like 50 coupons.
Oh wow.
Sold, okay. And I remember, I was hustling, I was working, I had Groupon messaging me because they saw me on Swarm Jam, all of this. And I was becoming a little bit more popular. And there was actually people saying like, where's that Groupon for the dog training?
Right.
So I ended up doing it a couple more to the point where I was selling, no joke, about 3,000 coupons. Yeah.
That's insane.
So I was selling 3,000 coupons, which was still not a lot of money.
No, but the workload associated to that is nuts.
Yeah. So basically, you should have seen my schedule. Just driving everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I was a taxi. And the thing is, though, is that they had a great little platform, and you could like see if, like this client, like I upselled a package or whatever. So my upsell rate was 91%.
That's where it all makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. So they would buy a package after that first session. At that time, I was a balance trainer, but nonetheless, it's about the personality. Mm-hmm. It really is. So all that to say is that when you look at that 91% return rate, see some of the people I mentor today, and they're just, it's not the same.
No.
It's not the same. Like, no one would do what I did today. No one would do that.
It takes a lot of...
that's the insanity.
Yeah, it takes a lot of crazy to do it. But I feel you, because back in the day, our customer meets used to be free. Now we charge. Also, I had the liberty of giving things for free because it was my time, right?
Yeah.
Now, and after year 2 or 3, actually we only started charging for customer visits in the past, let's say, 3 years. Prior to that, and it's still true, that hour that you spend with clients, it's an investment in your relationship with them. And this is always how I framed it for the staff, and I don't want to say staff, independent contractors, excuse me. But with life becoming more and more expensive, we had to change that free items to build items. And so a little bit as we grew, I lost a little bit of that flexibility to be able to do things for free because, if I'm paying someone, I can't just pay it out of my own pocket type thing. There needs to be an income to be able to make that payment. But at the beginning, free key shuttles, free client meets. Oh, we forgot to do something. I'll give you this for free. Oh, free. And that was something that I got very comfortable with, and then had to change my style years later, because then you have people to pay. Then you have like our computer system that tracks everything has to be paid. So at one point I couldn't give anything else out for free in a sense, unless it's a new service that I'm providing and I can take the hit on my hourly,
Yeah, exactly.
So when
it always comes back down to us.
It always comes back down to us. And like, yeah, we're the creator, the giver-awayer of time, the investment into the clients, the investment into our workers. It all comes back to us.
Do you find that friends who are maybe not entrepreneurs, do you find that they almost kind of look at us as like we're kind of selfish?
Ooh, okay. So that's complicated. So I don't know if my friends have that viewpoint, but I do know that I work every Christmas for the last 10 years. Actually, from 2013 to 2023, I've had the last 2 Christmases off. 2. So.
And why is that?
because if my contractors were working Christmas, I thought it only fair that I would work Christmas too.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a couple of burnouts, I decided I'm going to take Christmas off. I'm okay, but then I work New Year's. So like there's a give and take. But so my family may have suffered from that because I was there for 3 or 4 hours and then left. My husband also put in a lot more of the home, day-to-day work while I was building this. So like 2013 to 2017, let's just say, I was out of the house at 6 a.m. and back by 8 p.m.
Sounds like my life.
It's tough. And like in that time period, I was like stressed, but a good stress, right? The stress that keeps you going, the fun adrenaline. But I gained so much weight because I was eating fast food a lot.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Because you're like, go, Tim Hortons, Harvey's, whatever. And so it does take a hit on you in some places where some people might think you're just doing this all for yourself. You are doing it for the greater good in a way, but we do take hits on it. So selfish, I don't know. I could say selfish. We definitely sacrifice.
And we're not, is what I'm trying to say.
No, we're not.
We're not. But just to say that I feel like sometimes that is the judgment for people who are non-entrepreneurs.
I could understand that. Because you're so focused. And like everything always comes back to it, right? We'll be on the couch at 9 p.m. at night and Dan will look at me and he'll be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm just handling something from work." And I've got this like stressed face on and he's like, "Okay." 5 minutes later, I'm back. I'm okay, But like,
we're always on as the owners. And it's the amount of work that goes into it.
Yes.
I think that's one of the big reasons why we're creating this Petpreneur University, is to hopefully, there's no way around it. Like
you got to
work. But to be able to kind of bypass some of these things, or at least to a degree.
Yeah. Or to have someone to tell you what you're feeling is normal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God, no one's reached out to me. It's been a year. Okay, let's change your strategy. But don't worry, this is not the end for you. This is, let's change the motion. And like I'm not going to say a year, but we got stuck in weird pitfalls along the way. And if we can coach or help people or to avoid those to begin with, why not? It's going to help.
I just, in my line of work, I feel like, or I felt like what was so important to me was not the money. It was really about making sure that I got the experience. And the one thing I noticed about all my peers was that they wanted to have this hardcore surcharge and have 3 clients a week, but they were making enough money to survive. Versus I would have to do 100 clients for the same amount of those 3 clients.
But the exposure you're getting is crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, obviously I don't know everyone in Montreal, but I can tell you for a fact that, I mean, if I had to put a number on how many dogs I've worked with, tens of thousands. There's just no way. There's just no... Even going back and thinking about Swarm Jam and Groupon, just that was 10,000 coupons.
That's insane.
But I mean, like all of them, like the first one was like 50, and then like I had another one, but if I put them all together, it was probably about 10,000 coupons.
That's insane.
And no one was allowed to buy 2 coupons. So it was all 10. It was a trajectory of maybe over 7 years of 10,000 coupons sold. And, there was always a percentage that, like, they never, like, used their coupon.
Yeah.
20% or 50, or
so
whatever.
Let's just say 1,000 new clients per year, right? Or 1,000 coupon clients per year.
Yeah.
Divide that. That's like 100 new clients a month.
Yeah.
That's
and
insane.
we're talking just private. We're not talking group.
That's insane, guys.
So, I mean, to me, though, that was my education.
It is. It's true that it comes from real life experience, right? So with anything. I was in accounting. Accounting never changes. Accounting, 1 + 1 is always 2. But after years of being in accounting, you're able to see things faster. You're able to do things faster. You're able to see the bigger picture. You have a bigger scope. And it's the same with any material that you pick up for the course of the rest of your life. So dog training, cooperative care, cat sitting, customer service, running your business, profit and loss sheets, all of this stuff. You get better as you go. And there's only so much that books and learning itself can give you. You have to experience it. And at PetU, our main focus is, well, one of the main focuses is to have a very integrated approach, as in following us up for cases, discussing your client cases, doing the cases together, because this is normally the experience that you would get on your own in your first year. And that first year can be pivotal for you because you're dealing with, how do I market myself? How do I register this with the government? I suck, I'm not as good as I was in class. Well, these are things that we're gonna attack in class, because go out with as much confidence as you can have, because there are gonna be other things that tear the confidence down. So let's get people ready, you know?
And it's about that passion. Did you start doing this for the money?
No.
Exactly.
It was cool, but
Yeah.
$18 is not the money. That's not what I was going for.
And I remember a comment I used to get when I left school and I decided I'm going to be a dog trainer.
Ooh.
I had obviously a lot of negative feedback. One of the big negative feedbacks was, and it actually made me think, because for some, you know, hearing it now, it sounds so stupid. The comment was, well, how is that going to be sustainable, Josh? Like, when you go and you train all of these dogs, where, you know, once they're trained, what then? Like, where are you going to get more dogs? As to say, like, there's going to be a shortage.
Right.
And as we both know,
There's never a shortage.
there's never a shortage. But I remember at the time hearing that, it sounded so logical.
And be like, when I fix all the dogs, where are they?
And,
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, you know, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but
This is what I mean by like the whole naysayer vibe, right? You're
damaging.
you're gonna have these naysayer vibes. You're gonna have these people who are they're looking out for you in a way, but these comments.
I don't know if they're actually looking out for you.
These comments come from a place of insecurity,
Exactly.
of fear.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's going to be family members. It's going to be people who are closest to you because they care about you, or at least they don't want you to fall into a ditch.
Yeah.
I just find that that's going to be something when people say, like, oh, I'm going to be a groomer.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to be... A lot of people are negative towards any kind of self-made business.
So this is completely off track. My husband and my nephew are both ADHD, or maybe Dan is ADD. Pretty sure he's fine with me sharing this. And they were talking about a family friend who was really into mechanics. And the parent of the family didn't really want their son going into mechanics. Okay, fine. So he's in some kind of science, I think. And both my husband and my nephew were like, if this kid is focused in mechanics, let him go into mechanics, because he'll end up working on like sports cars for F1 or something, because he's so passionate about it. He'll make a real career out of it. Mechanics, you can make a career out of it. I'm just saying, sometimes people comment from a place of maybe they know better than you, but also
They don't have the knowledge.
they don't have the knowledge, and maybe they're not in a position anymore where they can jump and try something new, and they're afraid for you, so it comes out in their concerns.
Yeah.
And a very wise woman told me once, don't take business advice from people who are not further ahead than you in business. And that made so much sense. But when you're small and young, everything is just scary. Mm-hmm. And you don't know who to listen to, what to listen to, and your confidence kind of can get chipped away at.
And you're never going to meet a hater that's doing better than you.
Yeah, because the people who are doing better than you are like, fuck yeah, let's do this. I don't know if we're allowed to swear on this podcast, but like...
We are now.
Welcome to the Sam Show. There's a little bit of sailor in here. So the people who are doing well are going to always lift you up. Mm-hmm. They're never going to knock you down. The people who knock you down are the people who are either jealous of you or don't want you to succeed the way you have been doing. We've gotten way off topic, man.
No, not even.
Really?
I think we're right on topic.
Okay.
So one little question for both of us. Okay? And then
Wrap it up.
I had it here. Okay. So what drives you to keep going when things get hard? Exactly the one I was looking at. Right now.
Oh my God. What drives you to keep going when things get hard? Okay. Reality and the crazy entrepreneur. Reality, we need to pay our mortgage. It's got to happen. Things have to come in. We got to keep working. The crazy entrepreneurship, let's keep going. Let's make more. Let's get better. Let's do more. Let's offer it. Like, you see the crazy eyes? Like that, it's the crazy behind there. Like, oh, we could do this. Let's do it better. Oh, we could do this. Let's do it better. Like, I have a little bit of issues with that. I like to offer the most you can and then give better value as well. So that's me. That's my inner person going like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
You? Well, what motivates you to keep going?
I mean, aside from the sheer passion, I have my ups and downs, but I think now more than ever, where I am right now in life, I realize that like this is really what I was meant to do. Like there really isn't another reason for me other than this. You know what I mean? When it comes to my passion.
Like you feel your most whole self when you're doing this?
Yeah. And it's really mainly about the people. It really is. I could see myself being like a psychiatrist.
Okay, so you're not far off though, because when we talk to clients, often like talking them down off a ledge because their dog is so crazy or reactive or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of part of it.
So hearing those stories where a person will message me and be like, thank you so much, like you saved us, or you know, you helped us, or it really kind of hits home. And I don't let people anymore lower that feeling. That's really good for you. Because hard to do. Yeah, in the past, you know, there would be people that would say things like someone would be like, you're an inspiration. And then I remember, oh boy, I remember a comment where someone was like, hey, calm down. Like, you know, like Mandela is an inspiration. Like, you're not an inspiration. But like, come on. But you know what I mean, though? Yeah. And it's just like, you know, like you can be inspiring to someone in so many different ways. Yep. Doesn't mean you have to go to war, go to jail, which is incredible what some people have done all around the world. But there's a lot of, you know, anyone can be inspiring based off of what they do. For sure. So for me, the reason why I keep doing this, even when it's hard, it's about being inspiring to my kids. That passion of people being like, Josh, like, oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah, it's like, a little self-serving in a way because it makes you feel good about what you're doing. Yeah. It's always been about helping. And entrepreneurship in general, regardless of what the business is, software, whatever it is, it's all about helping other people. At the end of the day, you're giving someone something that makes their life easier. It's true. And that's what it is. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. That's true. All right. Well, good show. I hope you enjoyed the show with Sam, of course, and Josh. Once again, for anyone that doesn't know, we have created. It's created. Yeah. Petpreneur University. Courses start in September. How many students do we have?
We have 2 secured, room for 4 more, but probably only 2 more. We'd like to have a nice little tight class.
Yeah, and we are, just spoiler alert, giving a small discount for our first semester. Yeah. So if you're interested or you want more information, just reach out. You can email us. You can message us on the. I'll put some links on the bottom of the podcast, and I'm sure we're going to do some snippets. So it'll be all over the place. You won't be able to miss us. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.